Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Thursday, August 27th. Hurricane Laura came ashore last night in the southwestern part of Louisiana near Cameron, Louisiana, as a Category 4 major hurricane with maximum sustained winds around 150 miles per hour. It has weakened in the overnight hours, now down to a Category 2 hurricane with the latest report showing maximum sustained winds at 100 miles per hour, and it will continue to weaken over the next few hours. However, it will continue to produce a very heavy rainfall across Louisiana and Arkansas, and damaging wind gusts, destructive wind gusts, could continue for the next several hours all the way up through Arkansas and even into the Tennessee Valley. Its remnants will push to the east by the weekend and interact with an incoming frontal system to produce some rainfall in the mid-Atlantic region on Saturday. Some of that rain could be heavy at times, and there can be some strong to severe thunderstorm activity as well. Here's the latest infrared satellite imagery loop of Hurricane Laura. Again, still maintaining hurricane status, a Category 2. It has, of course, been weakening over the last few hours after making landfall right in this region right here, just to the right of the Texas-Louisiana border region. Hit hard Cameron, came ashore in Cameron, Louisiana, and then hit hard Lake Charles, Louisiana, and again it will produce some very heavy rainfall all the way upstate Louisiana into Arkansas, and even some damaging wind gusts all the way into the Tennessee Valley as it turns north and then to the east over the next 24 to 36 hours or so. Again, the remnants of Hurricane Laura will have an impact on the Mid-Atlantic region on Saturday. Then all that activity pushes off the coast by Sunday. In fact, the remains of Laura could actually re-intensify some once they push out over the warm waters of the Atlantic by Sunday. Sunday itself looks like a very comfortable air mass will push into the Mid-Atlantic region on the heels of what will be a wet day on Saturday and Saturday night. Well, here's a map of the latest official position by the National Hurricane Center in Miami. This is the location of Category 2 Laura, still a hurricane, and will continue to diminish in intensity over the next few hours, but quite a bit of rainfall and destructive winds all the way throughout this region as well. And then as it turns to the east over the next 12 to 24 hours or so, could be even some destructive winds all the way into the Tennessee Valley. Eventually it turns to the east-northeast and interacts with an incoming frontal system that will be dropping to the south and east across the Great Lakes on Saturday. So the combination of a vigorous incoming upper-level trough and a strong cold front with the remains of Hurricane Laura will produce some significant rain in the Mid-Atlantic region on Saturday and Saturday night. That can include some strong to severe thunderstorm activity. Now, a couple of other points I want to make while we're on this particular map. First of all, one thing we learned with the last two tropical systems, Marco and Laura, sea surface temperatures are very important. In the Gulf of Mexico, they're some of the warmest temperatures anywhere around the world right now, with temperatures as high as like 31 or even 32 degrees Celsius before these two storms approach. But two big differences with Marco, which fell apart as it moved over. Marco really moved over a very, very similar region into the northern part of the Gulf of Mexico, right on top of the same very warm sea surface temperatures as Laura. Whereas Laura rapidly intensified, Marco rapidly diminished in intensity just a couple days apart. What this tells us is that while sea surface temperatures are important, they are just one of many, many factors, and in this particular case, atmospheric conditions played a bigger role. Specifically, the wind shear increased in the environment surrounding Marco and helped it to disintegrate really over a couple-day period, whereas the wind shear, which is a reference to the change of wind speed and direction with height, actually decreased in time for Laura to rapidly intensify. So again, in this particular case especially, the atmospheric conditions were considerably more important when it came to the strengthening or lack of strengthening for Marco and the strengthening of Laura, more important than the sea surface temperatures. One other thing I want to point out, we talked about this several days ago, maybe a week or so ago, that these two storms would be influenced by a very strong high pressure area centered over the southwestern Atlantic. Basically, winds blow clockwise around highs, and we emphasize that the main threat for both Marco and Laura would be in this general region. Indeed, that did come true. The Gulf of Mexico was the prime area of concern, and indeed both of these storms ended up over the Gulf of Mexico. But let's kind of clear the page here and talk briefly here about what's coming up. Whereas high pressure in this part of the Atlantic influenced Marco and Laura, we'll see in a moment here, over the next 5 to 10 days or so, this particular high really will reform way up in this region right here. And that opens the door for the East Coast to potentially get hit. It kind of opens the door for something to slide underneath the ridge, and in this case, not the ridge located here, but a ridge located here. This opens the door for the eastern seaboard to potentially get hit, and I'm talking about maybe 1 week out to 2 weeks out, September 5th, September 10th time frame. And here we go. This is one tropical wave that we will watch over the next 1 to 2 weeks. This is not necessarily a wave that will end up impacting the East Coast, but it's something we'll closely monitor. It'll certainly push in this direction over the next several days, and if not this one, perhaps the next one could have an impact on the East Coast. Again, we'll see the upper air maps in a moment that will be projecting high pressure ridging to shift from this part of the Atlantic all the way into the northeast U.S., opening the door for the East Coast to a potential tropical hit from the east. Well, here's the official storm track of Hurricane Laura now by NOAA's National Hurricane Center. Again, remaining a hurricane early today as Category 2. Over the next couple of hours, it'll continue to diminish into Category 1 status, and by the time it gets into central Arkansas, tropical storm. And again, there can be some destructive winds all the way into the Tennessee Valley here over the next 12 to 24 hours or so as this thing moves northward, and then it'll cut to the east and impact the mid-Atlantic region on Saturday. Same time, a strong upper level trough and a strong frontal system drop to the south and east across the Great Lakes. The remnants of Hurricane Laura will kind of get intertwined with those systems and produce some heavy rainfall in the mid-Atlantic region, potentially some damaging wind gusts in strong thunderstorm activity as well. And then notice here, NOAA is putting out a depression status here in western Virginia, and then ups it to tropical storm status. And again, I think this is a distinct possibility. Once it gets off the East Coast, it could re-intensify over the warm waters of the western Atlantic. And notice also here, in a 24-hour period, it moves from here to here, in the next 24-hour period all the way out to here. Typically, tropical systems pick up in speed as they go farther and farther north into higher and higher latitudes. So again, the story is not over with respect to Hurricane Laura. Damaging wind gusts today into tonight across the south central states into the Tennessee Valley, and then it'll have an impact on the mid-Atlantic region on Saturday and Saturday night. Well, let's now talk about that 500 millibar height anomaly pattern going forward. And again, I think the door may be opening for a potential hit on the East Coast in this very active tropical season. Again, we emphasized many days ago that strong high pressure ridging centered over the southwestern Atlantic would tend to force or suppress Marco and Laura into very southern routes. Again, putting the Gulf of Mexico in the area of concern, and that is indeed what turned out to be the case. At the same time, there was some high pressure ridging here. Low pressure trough in the upper part of the atmosphere is situated over the northeastern states. Again, this prevented a track with Marco or Laura in a way that Isaias did, which, as you may recall, cut through North Carolina and then rode right up the I-95 corridor. That was virtually impossible with high pressure ridging centered over the southwestern Atlantic. But look what happens here. This is the average of the 500 millibar height anomalies over this current 5-day period. Let's just go out 10 to 15 days or so, and look what happens here. This is actually days 11 to 15. Complete flip in the pattern over the northeastern U.S. from a upper level trough now to high pressure ridging. This is an average over the days 11 to 15, which takes us from September 5th to September 10th, again with high pressure ridging developing over the northeastern U.S., over southeastern Canada. I believe that opens the door for the East Coast, especially the southeast coastline, to a potential tropical hit from the east. And this is something we'll watch for over the next 1 to 2 weeks. Well, let's finally look at the surface forecast maps from last night's operational run of the GFS at 6E. Hurricane Laura, Category 2 storm, as we begin the day on Thursday, came ashore as a Cat 4 in southwestern Louisiana, dumping very heavy rain on the rest of Louisiana this morning, and that will continue throughout the day, and then it continues on a northward track right into Arkansas, and then starts to curve to the east. We can have destructive winds in Arkansas into the Tennessee Valley region as well over the next 12 to 24 hour time period. Here we are now by tomorrow morning, a much weaker system, but nonetheless still the potential of some heavy rainfall and destructive winds over Arkansas, especially western Tennessee, and then it starts to curve to the east. At this time there'll be a upper level trough dropping to the south and east over the Great Lakes region, as well as a cold frontal system, and they'll kind of get wrapped up. Here we are now into Friday night. This is the location of the center of the remnants of Hurricane Laura at this particular time as of Friday evening. And here we have a frontal system starting to show up on the maps here, dropping from the northwest to the southeast across the Great Lakes. By the time we get into Saturday morning, a strong cold front, the remains of the moisture left over from Hurricane Laura. This is where the remnants of Laura will be situated on Saturday. At the same time, the strong cold front is diving south and east. And again, there can be some heavy rainfall in the Mid-Atlantic region on Saturday and Saturday night, along with possible strong to severe thunderstorms. A lot of tropical moisture will get intertwined in this incoming frontal system and continue into Saturday night, and then move back off the coast. And again, once the system moves back out over the open waters of the western Atlantic, there could actually be a re-intensification of what remains of Hurricane Laura. And look at this map on Sunday. Strong Canadian high pressure will build into the southeastern part of Canada on Sunday. A very, very comfortable air mass will follow all the activity on Saturday for the day on Sunday and Monday as well into the Mid-Atlantic region, into the Great Lakes and Northeast U.S. Very comfortable temperatures and humidity levels. Highs could be confined to the 70s in many urban areas along the I-95 corridor on Sunday afternoon and again on Monday afternoon. The breeze will be quite strong on Sunday following the departure of the frontal system and the remains of Laura, and the pressure gradient between the incoming high and the departing frontal system will be quite strong for a while. So expect a breezy day on Sunday, but again, very comfortable temperatures and humidity levels to greet the new week on Sunday and Monday in this entire part of the country. Beyond that, we'll start to monitor that new tropical wave that is now just pushing off the west coast of Africa. So again, for the next 12 to 24 hours or so, the remains of what still is a Hurricane Laura right now will produce some heavy rainfall over Arkansas, Louisiana, and into the Tennessee Valley, along with some destructive winds. And then the remnants will combine with a frontal system to produce some heavy rainfall in the Mid-Atlantic region on Saturday and Saturday night, with the potential of some strong to severe thunderstorm activity. For PerspectiveWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.